Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. I did it. I went back to the store and I got the i9-10900K. My first ever flagship CPU. So this is, now I've had the 9700K. That was probably my first really high-end CPU. I don't know, man. It's an experience for sure. It's one of those things where getting it up and running was a pain because there were some changes that I had to make. I couldn't just slap it in there into my existing build. I had a Corsair H60, which did a great job at keeping my 9700K, or my 9700K, my 10700K, my 3800X. It kept everything cool, right? And as soon as I slapped this thing in there, man, whew, it was peaking. It was hitting hard, man. It was going up to like 80 plus degrees when it would peak on the first game of Modern Warfare. And then by the time I get to the second or third game, it was hitting in the 90s. So it was a rough and tough place. I had to go out and get a better cooler. Otherwise, the chip will pretty much not make it. Overall, the performance is about in the games about on par with my 9700K, but everything feels a lot more smooth, right? One place that I've noticed a really big difference has been, and this video is not going to be that long. One place I've noticed a really big difference is in Vegas Edit 15, which is my editing program. Whenever I add clips from my hard drive or my external storage for my video clips, that's where I save everything. Anytime I add a clip into Vegas, into the project media space, it actually goes really quickly and it's consistent. And this is an issue that you would run into from time to time on both my 3800X and the 9700 and 10700K. So I ran into it on all the chips, where it would process. Let's say I try to take a Chase and Does video, like one of my playlists for Warzone, where there's like 10 or 15 clips that are a minute and a half each, and I'm trying to bring all 10 so I can trim them up, put them in the timeline, and then render them out, right? But what would happen is from time to time, it would just drop in. All 10 would just be, perfectly fine. And from time to time, I have an issue where it would do like one, and then it would take literally like 15 to 20 seconds to load up the next one. Then another 10 seconds to load up the next one. So it would take like maybe 3 minutes of waiting, which isn't the end of the world. That's a first world problem to have. But there are other times where I can load like 10 clips, 15 clips, 7 clips, whatever the amount, and it's within 10 seconds and it's done. And it loads all of them. So it creates all the peaks, puts them into my project media space, and then I can throw them into the trimmer without having to worry about crashing. Which, heads up, if you do have a lot of issues with Vegas Edit crashing, try putting the clips into the project first before, or the project space, before you actually edit them out, before you throw them in the trimmer. That cut down my crashes significantly. Upgrading to 32 gigs of RAM did minimal to help my situation, and switching to that pretty much made crashing a non-factor. I'd have to be doing a lot at the same time, and you could feel when it's about to crash. So that kind of fixed it for me. But yeah, 10900K, no issue so far. I'm on about my 5th video. And like I said, I throw in like 15 clips, 10 seconds later, 15 seconds later, it's done. Every single time, consistently. So that's very relaxing and refreshing to know that, okay, if I do something, then I know exactly what the outcome is going to be. I don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to work properly or it's going to work like last time. I also have been rendering just fine. So my renders, they range anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. So if I do like this video here, I'm assuming it'll probably end up around 7 minutes long, maybe. That video might take like 3 to 5 minutes to finish at 1440p. The bitrate I use for my gameplay is 70,000. So 70 megabytes per second, or 70, I think it's 70,000 megabits if you look at it that way. But overall, it gets a crisp quality, especially at the 1440p resolution. And my thoughts on the CPU so far, gaming wise, like I said, it's about the same frames per second as my 10700K. However, there are some instances where it gets higher, so the frame rate will be a lot higher than my 10700K, maybe like 20. Like in a game like Call of Duty, if I'm playing multiplayer, I'll notice that the lows will be higher. So like whenever it would dip or recover, let's say I have a spike and it goes up to like 230 FPS. When it goes back down on my 10700K, it'll probably drop about to 185-ish. Whereas with this one, it's going to drop down to like 190, 195, and usually around that 200 mark. So that's another cool thing to see. Haven't really tried anything that pushed it to the limit, but because of the cooler I have and running it stock, I've never seen temperatures this low before. But the cooler was an investment. I have the Corsair H150 Elite Capellix. So take a look at that review video I have up there. I was thinking that because I was only getting about 65 degrees C on my H60, that I'll be able to cool this thing with that CPU cooler, and maybe I would gain like 7 or 8 degrees in the temps, but that was not the case. By the time I started the first game, it was already at 72, so that was like off rip, which is like almost as high as the H60 would get with the 10700. So obviously there's more cores, it's a more powerful chip. Modern Warfare wanted to run it at 5.1 gigahertz, things that I've mentioned in another video. So it was an experience, man. But overall, my mindset is of this. After having tried this, I can't go back. I won't go back. So next Ryzen chip I get, I was thinking about maybe the 5800X in the future. It's gonna definitely be the 5900X. I'm gonna definitely go with Ryzen 9 and i9 from now on. Even if that means I'll go without for a little bit longer, if I needed to save up an extra 100 or 2. Then I'll do that, and I'll just get the better chip when the time comes. If you could swing it, I recommend it. Best Buy has the best deal I've seen. It's you can get it for $529. So there's a lot of different places where it's actually more. You got it for, I think Amazon is like $600 for the KF SKU, which means no integrated graphics. Newegg has a couple for like, I think the cheapest I've seen Newegg, which an official one, was $539. So that wasn't too bad. But yeah, Best Buy was the best place. By far, this was the least I've seen it for. You guys be easy, and comment your CPU down in the comment section below, and we can have a conversation. I'll catch you in the next video.